This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
I'll always love to do this, like right when the intro hits, I, cross the I's and dot the T's, or dot the I's and cross the T's. That's how it goes. Man, it's 12:01. What else do you expect from me? Welcome to week number 3 of Midnight Run. And folks, ladies and gentlemen, here in Cleveland, Ohio, this weather today, oh my Lord. Oh, my Lord. What a day. What a day. I had the windows down, the windows all open here at home, all 4 windows down. It's Monday. I know we lost an hour of sleep, and it was a little tough to wake up or get going this morning, but God woke me up this morning, woke you up this morning. We got going. We got ready to go. And a lot of moves were made today. It was funny. It was funny. So, all right, it's NFL free agency time. All right, we're ready to go. McAfee has the special. We were locked in, and I thought the special was fantastic. I thought it was great. Every few seconds, it was, all right, we got a Shefty alert. Oh, my goodness, here comes a trade. Here it comes a signing. The Vikings have signed a punter. All right, we got another signing. The New York Giants have signed a punter. Has great leg, great range, has a 9 out of 10 fair catch rate to the other opponent. All right, we got a Shefty alert. He's live from his closet studio at the Thunderdome. He's ready to go. The Chargers have signed a punter. In fact, they have also signed the third-string quarterback. Sitting there waiting for the Browns, waiting. All right, here he come. 12 o'clock hour, nothing. 1 o'clock hour, nothing. Took my coffee. 2 o'clock hour, nothing. We finally did something when they went off the air. And we made some moves. I'm not saying the Browns actually had a bad day, but from an entertainment standpoint of trying to win March 9th. They did not win March 9th. Nobody's talking about the Cleveland Browns on March 9th. But that does not mean they did not have a successful day. Let's look at the tracker. Let's take a look at what they have done today. The Cleveland Browns overtime. And you see it right there. Obviously, before this week, you had Howard coming over in a trade from the Houston Texans. I'll just lean over to the side there so you see me there. So you had Howard there. I'm kidding. You don't need to see me. And then Zion Johnson from the Chargers, that left guard position. And then, of course, filling the linebacker position, we lost Devin Bush to the Chicago Bears. That was a big loss. Big loss. Browns wanted to keep him. Chicago wanted him, just a little bit more. Quincy Williams coming over from the Jets to the Browns. Up and down, but if things go right, he can make things happen for Cleveland. So we'll see from that standpoint. But tomorrow, or actually later today, I'll say this. The Browns have a plan. So from the standpoint of what they're trying to accomplish in roster reconstruction, they didn't overspend for anybody. I love Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is a game changer. And he's on his way to the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. He's on his way there. I get it. I understand that. But price wasn't right. You don't need to overpay for an older receiver. You don't need to do that. With some injury history, too, now. So I get that. But Mike Evans is a special talent. I understand. I get it. We found out very early in the free agency period, Malik Willis was a no-go. He signed a new deal with the Miami Dolphins. He becomes their new QB1 in South Florida. So we're going to talk in a few minutes about our quarterback room. I want to compare it to another quarterback room in the NFL because I think there's another city that does sports talk that's having a much significantly worse day than we are here in Cleveland. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But Malik Willis, I know the Browns were in position. It was one of the teams that was going to be considered, but we talked about it even since this show has started a few weeks back. It just wasn't going to happen. You're still iffy in terms of Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson, the contract situation with Deshaun Watson, even though a year from now that won't be a problem anymore. And then the third thing, probably the most important thing, Deshaun Watson and Malik Willis shared the same agency. So from that standpoint, that's a point there. But at this moment, and let's look at this comment here from Huntington, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These moves, they don't move the needle for us. Draft is unchanged in my book. That's a great comment. And I'll say this. I think that's why that question of did the Browns have a successful day is a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky to answer in the context of, in the overall scope of things, the Cleveland Browns suck. So from the standpoint of did they have a successful day, I can say yes. I think the answer is yes. They had a successful day. They made disciplined moves. The big day for the Cleveland Browns, by the way, is today or Tuesday, tomorrow. We're going to find out if Joe Bitonio, because his contract is void today. So we're going to find out if Joe Bitonio is going to retire or is he going to return for another season. And Bitonio, that decision is huge because you just saw on the tracker, we addressed 2 spots on the offensive line already. If Bitonio returns, that's 3 spots that, in my eyes, that reopens the door to take a receiver at 6. If Bitonio does not return, if he decides to retire, you got to fill 3 offensive line spots. Maybe you could pull off another trade. Maybe you could pull off another signing. But 3 spots means maybe 1 or 2 of those have to be dealt with in the draft, especially early on. But if Bitonio comes back, that opens the door in my book for Tate or Tyson or somebody else there at the top of the receiving core at 6. So that is huge. And if we find out if Joe Bitonio is going to stay, is going to go, Eli and Chad, they'll react to that on Inside Edge Primetime tomorrow night. But because I think that's huge. I think that's absolutely huge, Bitonio's decision, what he can do. So in the scope of things, I think the Browns had a successful day, but they still suck. That's just the call for what it is. I will admit, though, on this day, I never thought a Monday afternoon in the middle of March, not involving March Madness, could be something exciting. We are talking here, if you're looking at marketing with the NFL, we're talking about players announcing that they're going to teams, and they can't even technically sign with those teams until Wednesday afternoon. It's like all of us announcing that we're going on a date, but the date hasn't happened yet. Like, it's exciting. This is exciting news. Still got to sign the dotted line. But it is pretty exciting that this happened. I thought, and I'll say this, Eli and Chad did a great job covering it on Primetime today. And we talked about a few other things on Main Event last night, a couple of stories, a couple of loose ends that we covered on Main Event last night to tie in Travis Kelce, we asked what was he going to do. All signs are pointing to him returning to Kansas City for the 14th season. In fact, for a 1-year deal, max deal, for a 1-year deal with Travis Kelce. More on the Chiefs a little bit later in the show. Kenneth Walker, also with Kansas City. More on the Chiefs later in the show. And a few other loose ends that we talked about on the Sunday Sports Show and our main event yesterday. Those pretty much got tied in very quickly. Malik Willis, we talked earlier in the show. But what made free agency itself exciting, you take a day where people are back in the office or they work from home or you're, working at your job or whatever you may be doing, and dead set in the middle of the afternoon, Pat McAfee, I thought, did an outstanding job, his show. I thought they did an outstanding job covering the free agency period. Listen, it's football, it's sports. It doesn't need to be super news and serious. It can be something fun. That's why the NBA should have kept the Magic City promotion. Yeah, they got rid of that. Stock up, stock down coming up later in the show, too. But I thought McAfee's reaction, we'll play it for you here right now. McAfee's reaction to Michael Pittman, formerly of the Colts, is going to be traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is courtesy of the Pat McAfee Show and the mothership ESPN. Take a look.
Putting together a nice little front court.
What? Sorry.
What do we got?
Uh-oh. Sorry.
What?
Sorry.
What?
Sorry. Breaking news.
What?
Oh, no.
Colts are trading Michael Pittman.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Steelers. Here we go. Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. Here we go.
They got Pittman. It's in his name.
Here we go.
He'll die while playing the game.
Here we go.
The Colts lost him now. I'm a little bummed out, but it'll be nice to see what's it about.
Here we go.
Pittman.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is headed to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
You guys are going to love him.
Sure, for the Steelers, Michael Pittman is going to be a nice player. Cool. Great. But that reaction is why I don't play video games, number one. Number one. It is the dude! You notice, too, that's what he realized, McAfee, like, I know we're allowed to curse on ESPN, but crap, the bosses are watching. They're legitimately watching. It's the equivalent to, you never like slack off at work or anything like that, but there's extra special attention when all your supervisors and managers and corporate men and women are in the office, and you try to be on your best behavior, but sometimes it just slips out. It just slips. Matter of fact, play the first 5 seconds again. It just slips.
Putting together a nice little front court.
What? Sorry.
What do we got?
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Whoa. What?
Sorry.
What?
That right there. Man, how many times have we all done that in some way, shape, or form? How many times have we done that? It's just crazy. But yeah, Pat McAfee and everyone did a great job. And of course, our guys, Eli and Chad, did a great job as well, covering free agency. Now, I want to shift gears to, we had the question a couple minutes ago, did the Browns have a successful day of free agency? I'm going to flip that and say that the Falcons have a successful day in free agency. And that answer is hell no. Absolutely not. We're going to find out. I truly believe we're going to find out if Kevin Stefanski is the smartest head coach in NFL history or he's really dumb as a box of rocks. and there will be no in between. We're going to find out one way or the other. So let me get this straight. Eli, put yourself on the screen. I just want to present this to you and to our fine Midnight Run audience. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. In their quarterback room, all right, they're going to release Kirk Cousins. I don't know. I think it might happen June 1st, but post June 1st. But Kirk Cousins is gone. Okay. They got Michael Penix. Injury history.
Yep.
Left-hand quarterback, right? Left-handed.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they're going to bring in Tua. He's one hit away from his NFL career being done and over with. He's about my height. Left-handed quarterback. That's QB1 for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good. And I think the crazy thing, too, we talked about it on primetime, is the fact that the Dolphins were so okay with cutting Tua Tagovailoa. They ate $99 million in dead cap money over the next 2 years, are splitting pretty evenly here. And so Tua, obviously taking the minimum contract with Atlanta is not a big deal because he's getting paid about $39 million, I believe the number is, from the Miami Dolphins. So I know that's besides the point, but just the fact that Tua's getting paid, so really there's no pressure on him with because he's on a minimum contract. For Kevin Stefanski though, this is crazy. We talked about it a little bit on primetime. Eventually, you're making the calls on your quarterbacks. Chad brought up a great point. Yeah, I mean, okay, we can understand if, Jacoby Brissett wasn't your call, or maybe some of these other guys, Baker Mayfield wasn't your call, or Deshaun Watson, or, whatever. Maybe Flacco was your call. What? Eventually, you gotta take some responsibility. You're the head coach of the team, so that's where we're at. Now you got Tua and Michael Penix as your starting quarterback and backup quarterback, and I don't know. It seems like Davis Mills would have a good chance starting in that room right now.
He would. And don't be surprised, too, if Dylan Gabriel is in that quarterback room as well. Actually, that might be my question. Whose QB room is worse? And it's the tiebreaker who has Dylan Gabriel in there. But I'll just listen. Okay? Listen. We have Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, and Dylan Gabriel. I understand we have a 5th-round draft pick, and depending on who you listen to, either he watches a ton of film or he watches nothing, and a few other things. So I get that. And Deshaun Watson, he's there. Deshaun Watson has an opportunity to be QB1. This is for as garbage of a situation as the Deshaun Watson the whole thing has been. Deshaun, unlike Tua, who Eli astutely pointed out, Tua is already paid. Tua has nothing to worry. I mean, it's a prove-it contract, but he's getting paid by Atlanta and Miami. He's golden. For Deshaun, this is the year where Deshaun Watson is actually working for another contract. I know, yes, he got paid. I get that. But this is the year he's actually working for another contract. Because if Deshaun Watson starts, he's QB1, and the Browns win some games, then you got another contract discussion going forward, and he's not cut on June 1st, 2027. But with that being said, 110%, I would take a Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel QB room over a Penix Tua QB room any day of the week. And the play caller matters. It matters. I'm taking a Todd Monken play caller as a play caller definitely over Kevin Stefanski as a play caller. I would like for my offense to score more than 20 effing points a game on a consistent basis. I would like my quarterback to be able to see over the offensive line. I would like for my quarterback to be able to stay healthy. And now the healthy part is very questionable because Watson has been hurt all the time. Penix is hurt all the time. Tua is hurt all the time. The difference maker is Shedeur Sanders. He only has 7 starts. So from the health standpoint, everybody's screwed. That's kind of a wash. That's a wash. Okay, toss that out the window. That's a bad argument. But I'll take Todd Monken over Kevin Stefanski's play calling. If you're Kevin Stefanski, wouldn't you at least want, I don't know, an elite quarterback you could do something with? I mean, what are we doing? And think about this. This is the reality of, remember back in January when Jimmy Haslam, he wanted to keep everybody. Stefanski and Barry, in their own way, basically said, nah, right? So think of an alternative universe where Andrew Barry was let go and Kevin Stefanski was still here. And you're running everything back. Tommy Rees, you're running it all back. And maybe Tua is here in Cleveland. Can you imagine Tua being here in Cleveland? Undersized. Again, left-handed quarterback. He's one hit away with our offensive line, by the way. That needs to be replaced. One hit away from being done, being a liability. And you'll have Kevin Stefanski in the press conferences say, I respect the question, and give you nothing. But that ain't our problem anymore. Good luck, Atlanta. In fact, I reach out to my buddy Rico. We might have him on the show tomorrow because Atlanta right now, they're going through it. I mean, you got the QB situation going on right now. They're starting pitchers. They're getting suspended for the entire season for stuff. They canceled the Magic City promotion, which is crazy in society where we draw the hard line on stuff. Apparently, that's the hard line of where we draw. So you got stuff going on with Atlanta. And at least with Atlanta sports and the city of Atlanta, there are other things to do down there and people don't care. But Magic City does have nice chicken wings. So at least they have that. AlleyRoseFragrances.com. That will not get canceled. That's a great place to be. And they have a brand new spring promotion. It was warm and fantastic outside, and you want your insides to smell just as good inside your home as we welcome in the spring season. Folks, March Madness is not just March Madness because of the basketball, but it's because spring is right around the corner. And based on the weather here in Cleveland, spring's here. Spring's here, ready to go. Check out AlleyRoseFragrances.com, AlleyRoseFragrances.com for the brand new spring candle selections that you can see again from my friend Allison, who makes these candles handcrafted on her own. She makes these. They're phenomenal quality. They could be right at your home, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. And remember, if you are a first-time customer, you see it right there, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20 if you are a first-time customer. And you can combo, or different stuff. You don't need to just order one thing and use the promo code and that's it. Get a couple candles. Get the body mist, for your loved one. Put those in the order. Put in the promo code InsideEdge20. Not only are you buying yourself a quality product, but also you're getting a gift for your mom, your dad, your significant other, your side piece. You're getting all that situated. It's a wonderful gift. Definitely use it. AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Use the promo code InsideEdge20. We're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Are they back? We got that. And also, if I told you John Jones, Conor McGregor, and Ronda Rousey are all going to fight in 2026, but not in the UFC, Ooh, we got some problems. We'll talk about that on the other side. Plus, Cavs, they won again against the Sixers, but do I still have that Cavs Celtics hangover from Sunday afternoon? Double A here with you. This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Back after this.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
Welcome back to Midnight Run here on the Inside Edge Network. It is 12:28 here on the East Coast. I just realized something, which I find very fascinating. You know, doing this show for now 3 weeks at this unhinged hour of midnight, what boggles my mind, how come? All right, this is a very selfish in-show complaint. This is not me as a fan. This is not anything like that. But sometimes us as broadcasters are very. Sometimes it's like Bruce Almighty. You just hope for destruction while you're on the field reporting. If the Cavs would have faced the Celtics tonight and got demolished instead of Sunday afternoon, content-wise, that would have been great. But they won today. They beat the Sixers. Joel Embiid, when are you going to come back? Man. I want the Cavs to go deep. We want them to go deep. We definitely want them to go deep. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Cavs a little bit later on in the show. We'll talk Chiefs here in just a few moments. I want to play this clip real quick. One of our shows here on the Inside Edge Network is the Commissioner's Couch podcast. Ryan Mosser, David Calhoun, they both do a great job. It's on live every Thursday night, 7 o'clock here on the Inside Edge Network. And they this is their second season. It's a fantasy football podcast, but this particular season, they are diving into all the prospects, all the top prospects in the NFL draft, particularly with the skill position guys. And here's what they had to say about this particular standout receiver that could become, perhaps, a Cleveland Brown. Take a look.
His long speed is adequate, I think, to threaten vertically when he wins early in the route. And he has really efficient strides as well that can help him maintain separation. His body control, like I said, is a standout trait specifically. He adjusts midair just like Carnell Tate did as well. He can contort his frame. I don't know. He's just a big body, man. His combine, I think, is unusual experience. I would say he chose not to participate in any athletic testing due to lingering hamstring injuries. Usually with the knee injuries that he sustained his freshman year, usually as you're recovering, you'll probably have a hamstring injury on that same side just because you're trying to compensate a little bit. So he's dealing with that as well, which meant no 40-yard dash, obviously.
So a lot of that Jordan Tyson there, as he was talking about there, and I like what they do on their show because it's not just strictly, oh, how well did they do at the combine and you know the mock drafts and stuff. What they take into account, what Ryan takes into account, Ryan and David, they actually look at metrics that actually matters to coaches and what matters to teams in terms of on the field winning success. It's not necessarily who had the best combine meetings with GMs and scouts and things like that. If that was the case, Johnny Manziel would have a much more better successful NFL career because Johnny Manziel impressed at the combines in terms of meetings. He impressed. They don't look at that. They look at actual breakdowns and things like that. So check them out every Thursday, 7 o'clock. The Commissioner's Couch Podcast, and they get you all the way ready. Ryan and David, they'll have you covered all the way through the NFL draft. In fact, they will handle night one of NFL draft coverage right here on the Inside Edge Network. Anthony Alford here with you. We got to talk Kansas City. I keep thinking back the 2026 Kansas City Chiefs. If you haven't heard, you just joined us. Travis Kelce, he is returning not only to the NFL, but he's going to stay with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have made some additions. In fact, none bigger than acquiring Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker on their roster. And the Chiefs, when I think of the 2026 Chiefs, for basketball fans, this will make sense. I think of the 2022 Golden State Warriors. You think of, like when you hear the Warriors, and you hear Stephen Curry, and you hear, you hear about those guys. You think of their generational run in the 2010s. But they fell off for a few of those pandemic years. Then they won a championship in 22, and then they've been a play-in tournament team every year since. But they had that one last run in 2022. For the Chiefs, and listen, Patrick Mahomes, we don't know the state of the NFL. Anything can happen at any given time. If you put a gun to my head, I can't guarantee Patrick Mahomes will be a Kansas City Chief for life. I don't know. The state of today's sports, who effing knows? For all we know, Patrick Mahomes will be an Arizona Cardinal quarterback by 2030. Who effing knows? But this could be the last shot for the Kansas City Chiefs that we know. With Patrick Mahomes, with Travis Kelce, with Andy Reid, with those guys. They got their own offensive coordinator back. So that's all there too. Kenneth Walker does make a difference, obviously, and adds an extra playmaker in the backfield. And they've been a little limited. They've been extremely limited in what they've been able to do from the backfield with the Kansas City Chiefs. Pacheco, his injury history. Kareem Hunt, he did a few good things for fantasy football for me personally. A few good things, some surprising things, but, time has run out a little bit with Kareem Hunt. But Kenneth Walker is a difference maker in terms of being a playmaker. Now, Chris Collinsworth kind of hurt his free agency status a little bit, but he said during the Super Bowl broadcast that he was not a good blocker. When he doesn't have the football, he's not really a threat. Like, he's not a good pass catcher out of the backfield. and he doesn't really block well. But the dude can run the football. And if he can stay healthy, that's been the issue with Kenneth Walker, is him staying. If he can stay healthy, if the Chiefs are back in the dance and they have room to do more, there's a receiver out there that has a ton of kids. I didn't mean to lead like that, but he has a lot of kids. But he could be back with the Chiefs. Eli, speaking of Tyreek Hill, and my apologies for not doing this research beforehand. I'm curious what his injury status, what his update timeline is going to be. I'm seeing here, Eli, 2026 might be a little iffy.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You know, you had the surgery, obviously the season-ending left knee dislocation, multiple torn ligaments, including the ACL. That was week 4, so we'll see. But if he were to play this year, this upcoming season, it would more than likely, in my opinion, be in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. It just makes way too much sense, AA. You look at the Travis Kelce came back for another year. Travis Kelce is slowly starting to decline at the tight end position. You know, the discussion of, is he the best tight end in the game right now? I don't know if he is the best tight end in the game anymore. I'm not saying all time, but not right now. Not right now. He's not. And you look at that, but you look at the fact that he is coming back for one more year, despite all of that. Something, and then you get Kenneth Walker to agree to go to Kansas City. Kansas City struggled to bring in a strong running back, really, since, like you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes has been there. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and we love Kareem Hunt here in Cleveland, but none of them are Kenneth Walker. None of them are the reigning Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. So I just think this makes all the sense in the world for Tyreek Hill, and he doesn't have to be super Tyreek Hill. This doesn't have to be the first rendition where he was leading the charge. No, in fact, they might just run a more run-dominant game where Patrick Mahomes, when he comes back from his injury, from this surgery, with this recovery, maybe he's like, I'm going to hand the ball off to Kenneth Walker 20 to 25 times, and I'm going to pick and choose where I'm going to throw the ball. And now it's an even more dangerous game because you still have Xavier Worthy there. You still...
By the way, Xavier Worthy, speed threat, absolute speed threat for the Chiefs. So he'll open up defense.
Him, and then you look at whatever's going to happen with Rashee Rice. They can keep him on the field, obviously. That's another guy. You know, we're now... Everybody was talking, and we obviously spent a lot of time on Main Event talking about maybe the demise of the Chiefs. Is this the end? Is Patrick Mahomes going to look the same? I mean... He may not have to look like Patrick Mahomes the last 5 to 6 years if they go get Tyreek Hill. They just added the Super Bowl MVP, a guy who had one of his best years as a pro and is still 25 years old right now, AA. Crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. And just real quick, looking at Tyreek Hill, and my apologies, we have notes on the side, but I'm going to look at my notes and away from the camera for a hot second. It was week 4 when Tyreek Hill was injured. And his injury, dislocated knee, torn ACL, a lot of other stuff happening. The track is usually 9 to 12 months. Tyreek Hill did mention, I think on Twitch or something, a few weeks ago that he has one more surgery, but is not as rough of a timeline as what people has made it to be. So maybe you don't have Tyreek Hill week 1, but kind of like Mahomes, listen, this could be a Chiefs team. Because, Mahomes had, he also has a significant injury too. This could be a Chiefs team that starts 0-2, and then you get Mahomes back, and then Tyreek Hill signs with the Chiefs. You have him by the end of September, and you could be off to the races.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's dangerous what the Kansas City Chiefs could look like, really, in the next, 6-7 months. I mean... They also addressed the line today. I believe they've signed, some offensive line help. So, I mean, they just are making the moves that a team that is pissed off that the rest of the leagues wrote them off after a few years, a bad Super Bowl loss to Philadelphia and a playoff, missing the playoffs. I think Kansas City, like you said, is trying to get at least one more here. If they're like, hey, we just signed Patrick Mahomes to this big contract not too long ago. We want one more championship out of him. We need one more at least, right?
Yeah, and again, it has that feel of the 2022 Golden State Warriors. We need one more big run. One more big run with this core group. And here's the other thing, too, and this part's critical. And this is where I think the Chiefs could be in the driver's seat to at least win the AFC. The NFC is going to be a dogfight. I mean, everyone's talking about the Niners, what they did, Mike Evans and things like that. Of course, the Rams, everyone's talking about them as well. Even the Cardinals made a little bit of move. Meanwhile, Seattle's the defending Super Bowl champs. So the NFC West is going to be nuts. But I'm looking at the AFC. Kind of similar to Golden State, the idea of taking out Kansas City in the playoffs, other than Joe Burrow, no one has done it. In the AFC playoffs. Now, it's been done in the Super Bowl. Philadelphia's done it. So it's been done. Tom Brady's done it. So in the Super Bowl, it could be done. But in the AFC playoffs, when Kansas City with Mahomes is in the playoffs, it hasn't been done other than Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. What happens if the aura of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Kenneth Walker, Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthy, and those boys, they walk into Buffalo or Western New York? They walk into Houston. Kansas City beats Houston every single time they face each other in the playoffs. Can Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos overcome Kansas City? Look, listen, I don't, and Lamar, the Baltimore Ravens, Crosby's a major signing, but there is a difference when you're facing a Chiefs team in the playoffs. Been there, done that. That's why all this is scary. If, Travis Kelce is confirmed. We don't know about Tyreek Hill at this very moment. We don't know. But, we expect, he's going to be a free guy. I think he's going to make one more run. I think it's one of those things where, hey, let's finish where he started. I wonder in the back of Tyreek Hill's head, hey, I took the money, I took the opportunity in Miami, but I kind of wanted to, let's finish where we started here in Kansas City and see. Yeah, I think that's true. If Kansas City takes a top wide receiver, I don't see any defense stopping us. I'm assuming it's a Chiefs fan. Yeah. And listen, okay. In the regular season, Denver's going to give you a challenge because Denver is still the top. Denver and New England are the two top defenses in the league. So in the regular season, you are going to get some challenges. You may not start the season well because Mahomes is still coming off of the injury. But if Mahomes can be back by week 3, by week 4, and also it depends, too, on how the Chiefs are scheduled. The Chiefs have a ton of national TV quality games. If the schedule makers are aware that Mahomes may not be back until weeks 3 and week 4, you may get the Las Vegas Raiders in week 1. You may get the Raiders in week 1 and week 4. They may soften your schedule early on, and you may get right off the bat 2 out of 3 with your backup quarterback because your schedule at the beginning of the season is soft. Pay close attention. The schedule's out in 2 months. Pay close attention to the Chiefs' schedule. If you get cupcakes at the beginning of the season, you're almost on track to go to the playoffs, and you're ahead of the game there. But speaking of which, come playoffs, it's the mind, right? Patrick Mahomes been there, done that. Can Bo Nix overcome that? Can Drake May overcome that? Can Lamar Jackson overcome Patrick Mahomes? Hasn't so far. Can Josh Allen overcome Patrick Mahomes? Hasn't done it so far. That's what's scary about championship dynasties that have had a couple years off, but oh crap, they're rebuilding, been there, done that. We're going to talk Cavs in just a little bit, but first, BA Sweeties is the place you need to be. Classic treats, classic popcorn. You know what's crazy? When you have over 75 years of service, sometimes we take it for granted. I'm not even going to lie to you. I take it for granted. I take for granted because you see candy stores all around, right? But there's nothing like BA Sweeties in terms of the largest warehouse, the largest candy store, in terms of all the stuff that is available and offered at BA Sweeties. And it's not just the candy, even though the candy is great. You can get a Kit Kat. My go-to is Kit Kats. That's the traditional. You can get those. But you get the classic treats as well. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you have never, and probably people my age, unless you went to BA Sweeties, you probably have never had a classic pop with sugarcane ingredients out of a glass bottle, out of a glass bottle. You get that at BA Sweeties. You get the classic cream sodas, the orange sodas. You get all of that stuff. Oh, and don't even get me started on the popcorn, the Olympiad popcorn, the Humphreys popcorn that is available from the, traditional, the butter popcorns, the Buffalo Ranch. Eli and I and our Side Hustle Wrestling podcast co-host Kyle Cordell, we had the caramel popcorn and we had the cheddar popcorn. In fact, Kyle was upset with me because I took the cheddar popcorn home because he wanted to keep it. He wanted the cheddar popcorn. I'm like, go back to the store and buy it. The cheddar popcorn. Oh, it was great. It was great. We watched the Elimination Chamber. Oh, we got some thoughts on Monday Night Raw, by the way, coming up later in the week on the Side Hustle Wrestling podcast. But BA Sweeties, you got to be there. Right here in Cleveland, over 75 years of service. Interstate 480, the Ridge Road exit. Make a left on Brook Park Road. You see the giant lollipop. It's right there. And when you walk inside, I'm going to just tell you, it smells really good. It smells really good. Buy some stuff from BA Sweeties. And with the weather like this, get a milkshake, get some ice cream as well. Bring your wife, your husband, bring your kids, all that stuff to BA Sweeties. Let them know. Anthony Alford, Inside Edge Network, all of us, we sent you to BA Sweeties. We'll take a break, talk Cavs, talk some other stuff. Stock up, stock down. New segment here on the Inside Edge Network and Midnight Run. I did the outro backwards, so go to break. We'll be back.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
Stock up, stock down, coming up in about 5 minutes right here on Midnight Run, here with you until 1 a.m. And then after my show's done, go to bed. Go to bed. Man, this is good stuff, man. This is one of my favorite times of the year, of course, with March. Starting tomorrow, you're going to see some random college basketball games on your televisions. And this is the best time of the year. Now, if you're looking for in-depth college basketball analysis, you ain't gonna find it here. But I'm gonna pretend like I have it for you because this is what we do in March. We watch like 2 college basketball games the entire regular season, and then come March, we are full-blown experts at Old Dominion basketball. So we are locked in and ready to go. Of course, for me personally, a big day for me is going to be Thursday. I believe, yeah, Thursday, Bowling Green versus Toledo. And on the other side of the bracket is Miami. We're going to talk later this week, all kidding aside, about Bowling Green, because I did see a stat. Miami of Ohio, Toledo, Akron, and Kent State. I have to find the stat, but I think they're like 53-4 against other Mid-American Conference competition. So, like, there's a major gap between the top 4 teams in the Mid-American Conference and everybody else. But the story of college basketball this week is going to happen here in Cleveland with the Mid-American Conference. All right, real quick, the Cavaliers, they are a winner today over the 76ers. It was never really close. It was a good, great victory for the Cavs. I did hear Eli and Chad talk on prime time about Donovan Mitchell, like trying to find his legs, get things back in working order after missing some time. And that'll be interesting. And again, I'm not going to crap over the Cavs from tonight's game. Great victory, great response after the beatdown on Sunday against the Boston Celtics. And the schedule, the schedule's a little tricky. From a technical standpoint, it's an easier schedule. But I believe the Cavs play every other night for like the next 2 weeks. It's a weird stretch. And this is coming off of last week where the Cavs had a 5-day break. Now, as evidence on Sunday, the 5-day break didn't mean anything because they got mollywopped by the Boston Celtics, and other words that even on this network I don't want to use, but you can apply any word that you want in terms of how that game went down, and it was all of that. It was a cluster. Any adjective you want to use there, that's what happened. The schedule favors the Cavaliers looking good. Jared Allen being out. I thought Eli has made great points about the impact Jared Allen has had on this team, especially in the last month. And him not being there, that's a huge loss there. So hopefully they can overcome that, and we'll have to see. But, boy, I can't get out of my head what happened on Sunday. I just can't, because – as I said last night on the main event, if you close your eyes, you see that exact game play out in the playoffs against Boston in the past, Indiana last year, New York in 2023. You've seen that play out where bigger teams drive inside. We have to utilize 2 or maybe 3 guys, 3 of our smaller guys in the paint. And then what does every team do against us? They dish it out to the outside, and then somebody who Shaq doesn't know hits the open 3, and boom, It's right there. And yes, that was an intentional shot to Shaquille O'Neal because he doesn't watch basketball. Anywho, yeah. So you have that, and it plays out that way. But a lot of that is effort, not actually closing out on shooters. That's a big problem. That's a huge problem that if the Cavs just flat out refuse to solve, their season will end on Mother's Day. Season will end on Mother's Day if they refuse to work on effort and refuse to work on closing out perimeter shooters and being big on the inside. I will point this out. Though. I do think the officials are doing a terrible job of officiating against the Celtics and the Thunder. OKC, for example. OKC routinely punches, or not punches, but they hit players in the face. They foul every play. OKC, watch one of their games. They foul every play, and the officials don't call it. They never call it. And then I'm watching Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, every play to the back. I'm going to do the best I can to illustrate this. Every play, Jaylen Brown got the defender. Watch that offhand when he's driving to the basket. Every time he drives in, that offhand is scooting the defender out of the way. You're not allowed to do that. And they never, ever call it. They always get the defender. So every time he's driving to the basket, he's scooting the defender out of the way with his offhand. You cannot do that. And they don't call it. Jaylen Brown attempts the most shots. I'm sorry, Eli, we might run over. This is the first. I'm allowed. This is the first time we might run over. Jaylen Brown attempts the most shots in the NBA. The most. It's not even close. And he's never called for offensive fouls, even though he commits offensive fouls almost every possession. It happened on Sunday. It happens every game. Next time you watch a Celtics game, watch Jaylen Brown and watch how many times he commits an offensive foul that they don't call. You can't do that. You're not allowed to. So from that standpoint, the Cavs are screwed a little bit because they got smaller guys. This is where Jared Allen will help there because he has a little bit of that base. But it's infuriating. I credit Jim Jones for pointing it out on the radio. I listened to the first half of the radio. I watched the second half here at home. And I'm watching this. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. The officials and the rest of the league is peeping this, by the way. The officials are not calling fouls on Jaylen Brown, and they're not calling fouls on OKC. There's a we didn't load it in here today. I'll load it into, well, we can't show live action, but look on Twitter. There's a play from tonight's Thunder OKC Denver game. Great game, by the way. OKC won at the very end with SGA. The OKC announcer is saying, our players didn't hit Jokic in the face. It didn't happen. And you look at the replay, right in the effing face. And they didn't call it. And the rest of the league is peeping this. So, meanwhile, the NBA is concerned about the Magic City promotion that the Hawks are running and not about their officials. That's interesting on my call. I don't mean to sit here and BS about the officials. I still stand by the Cavs, better effort, and they need to play a lot better against these teams. But Jaylen Brown, what are we doing? You're watching the games. It's blatantly obvious. What is the back judge doing? What are you watching? It's blatantly obvious that offhand. It's there. All right, we're out of time. We'll do stock up, stock down tomorrow. But yeah, it just NBA got to do better. They got to do better. If they, the NBA is already in enough deep, you know what, anyway, with perception and things like that. And if they're, listen, Jaylen Brown's a great player. He ain't Michael Jordan. Okay, we're not going to just sit here and allow these guys to just easily get to the basket, cheat their way to the basket, attempt the most shots in the league, attempt the most free throws in the league, and they didn't earn it. In fact, they cheated their way. So it is what it is. That frustrated me just as much as the Cavaliers' effort in that game as well. All right, we're out of time. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Eli for producing the show tonight. We might have a guest tomorrow. I'm going to see if Rico can come on the show. Rico McGee, he does his own podcast, is on the 216 Sports Minute. Does a great job with that. He covers HBCU stuff as well. But he's an Atlanta Falcons fan, so I want to hear his perspective about what he thinks about the stuff that's going on with Kevin Stefanski. Ain't looking good. Want to thank all of you again. Follow us at InsideEdgeNet. And we have a new website, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Check it out, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. You can see all of our shows. You can see bios of all of us and all of our partners as well. We're doing a lot of great stuff there. For Eli, for everybody here at the Inside Edge Network, I'm Anthony Alford signing off. Have a great day, everybody. And it's 1:02 at night. Even on the West Coast, go to bed. You got work in the morning. Bye-bye.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.